especially because you said you were brought up kind of like in the hoods and stuff, so you understand what goes on, right?
Yeah.
Um, so for the people that don't know you, Suzanne, it's a pleasure having you on. Would you like to give them like a background of who you are and like your upbringing as a kid
Sure.
in their youth years?
Sure. Well, my name's Susana, aka Smiley from Linwood. Um, I grew up with two parents in the household. I grew up with them till like 10 years old when it was everything was all good and the family started to be dysfunctional.
Mm,
And there was always fighting, but I started not being involved till I was like 11. I started seeing that everything was put on me, like a scapegoat. Like she's the one we're gonna use to just pick on her and throw all the pile of shit on them.
right, right,
So I was the chosen one, and it was kind of bad, like it started just with arguing, and they'll involve me in their DV. It was never physical, but it was always verbally. So I
right.
was always involved. Don't you think it's your dad's fault? And I
Mm,
would be like, well, I don't know. I'm little. I'm 11 or 12. And I'm like, I don't know. I know my dad as my dad. I don't know you guys as your personal problems. And I will get blamed for that. You see, you're always taking his side. So on. It went on for years. And I didn't say anything.
mm,
So I started noticing that my mom started really like isolating me away from my dad because we're a family of seven.
wow.
And my mom will always say, like, okay, take all the kids. You don't help me with nothing. I'll stay home. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to go out. Right?
Right.
No, you're
Mm,
staying home with me. And I was like, cool. I stay with another parent. It's cool with me.
right.
And I would stay, but I noticed that I would stay because for some reason, my mom would throw out she wanted to discard everything, all the pain, all the hurt she was going through on me.
Mm,
And it started with verbal, it started with physical, then it ended up with physical. And it got to the point where I ended up in the streets because at the end of the day, I think I was a bother to her. And she would be like, get the fuck out of my house. I don't want you here. Get the fuck out of here. So I'm a child, right? I'm like 14 at this age.
mm,
And I'm like, okay, maybe she wants me out of the house. So I will go to the backyard and I will cry to a dog that I had, rest in peace, name also. And I will go inside the doghouse with her, with him, and I will be like, "You're the only one that understands me. You love me. You
mm,
comfort me." And my mom will try her hardest to find me, and she will find me, and she would tell me, "Didn't I tell you to get the fuck out of here? Get the fuck out of my house."
what?
Yes. So that was kind of hard for a 14-year-old. And I live with two parents. I have a beautiful home. We grew up in a beautiful home. And even though if it was the hood, my dad was a construction worker. So
Okay.
it's a beautiful home. He
Right.
constructed that home to be a home, not just a house. So
Right.
when she told me that, I was like, maybe she wants me out of here for real. And I was lost. Where do I go? So I would go for walks around the block. So as months passed by, she kept on telling me the same thing, and I'm like, "Fuck that! I'm tired of her shit. I'm gonna fucking run the streets."
Right.
So that's what I did, and I discovered a park 2 blocks away from me. Boom! Worst mistake I ever made in my life to even step toes on that park, and that's where I met people. It was a neighborhood there, and I met people. You smoke, and I'm like, no, I was scared. So
Right.
that's how I started off smoking. And every time my mom would tell me to leave, I was like, I can't wait for this fucking lady to tell me to leave because I want to leave. I want to go smoke.
Right.
But we're thinking it's all gravy when we're young. We're smoking, we're enjoying it, but we
Right.
never know where that's going to lead us to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm posted in the park. Hey, woo, I'm the homegirl, woo, woo. And after that, it's like the abuse got worse. My dad was hitting me. And I'm not saying they're
Mm,
bad parents because
right.
obviously the house was still there. It's just that the dysfunctional ways it continues until we break the chain.
Right.
So obviously they didn't break that chain. So that abuse kept on going. And I started running away. After I was being hit with objects and stuff like that, I started running away because their abuse was just coming out of anger, not because I really did something, but because it was just out of their anger. And anything I said, I was being hit with cables from his
Mm.
construction work, the little
From the construction, like the
the
equipment, that's
cords,
insane.
construction cords. Then I started getting hit with brooms. I started getting hit with the thing you hit the horse with,
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about.
like a whip.
Right,
I got hit with that, and every time I would say, back in the days, parents didn't play. I'm gonna call the police. Oh
right.
yeah, that's another ass beat. So I started running away because I just had all this pain built up. Like, what am I doing wrong? When I'm just trying to be lovable. I'm a very lovable person.
Right.
And so 16, 17, 18, 19 was a destructive life. I started using methamphetamine. I started using meth at 15. My friends were
15?
like 15.
Wow.
Um, hey, what's up, Smiley? You want to try some shit? And I'm like, no, I'm cool. Fool, it'll take all your pain away, dog. It'll make you feel good. Really?
Mm.
Fuck it. I did it because I was like, it's gonna take my pain away. And another thing is because I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be cool with my friends. And I did it. And the first time I did it, it took the fucking pain away like completely. They were bickering at my house. I was on a good one, like, I don't hear shit, you know? But little do I know that that good feeling only lasted for a few years, you
Right.
know? Lasted for a few years, started being destructive in the streets, started gangbanging, started robbing people, started not giving a fuck, fighting everybody I run into because I had that pain inside me and I didn't give a fuck. I was on dope. Like, fuck it. Let's do this. I don't give a fuck. Everybody's gonna pay for the shit I'm going through,
Right.
you know? And some guy named Spooky from Linwood actually seen me in the street and was like, hey, why are you always posted up here by the payphone? Oh, just because I don't have a phone at home. So he kind of figured it out. That was his neighborhood and he picked me up and nah, I know you're out there. And he picked me up and he took me into his home. But it even got better. I was still out there hoop banging. Oh, now I'm in the game. Now I'm in the hood, you know?
Right.
But I'm doing my shit. Don't fuck with Smiley because I'm going to run up on your ass real quick.
Right,
You know?
right.
And not to be proud of it, but I was one bad bitch back then,
Right.
And the gangs will never be the same. Nobody will understand like the 90s. Like, I understand it. Yeah, there is crazy fools out here now, but it ain't nothing like back then. But anyway, so I was running up a mug. My mom would take me back. I want you back. Obviously, my mom loved me, but
Right.
obviously, my mom was going through her
Right.
own pain that she was hurting me, but then she still wanted me back. And I will go back to her because who doesn't want family love? Who doesn't
Right.
want their mom?
Absolutely.
I've always took her back because I wanted her. Like, my mom loves me.
Right.
Okay, and then like 2 months, get the fuck out of my house. It was like that for years. For years of abuse. When people make fun of me saying years of abuse, I own that. I own that. You're saying the truth. I have years of abuse. And I dealt with that for years. And it was okay for me because I think God built me to take that pain. And I
Right.
could take it very well. I could take it very well and I can understand the next person, but it was the hardest thing, that
Yeah.
the hardest job God gave me to sit there, to stand there, and to really take that pain, you
Right.
know, for you to stand there or hear your mom tell you, you piece of shit,
Mm.
bitch, I wish you could die, you know? And that gave me more energy to not give a fuck. Maybe I was born in this world to die. So I kept on running them up in the streets. So I got shot when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was out there with a different neighborhood. We were hanging around. We were acting a mug. Whoever thought They were gonna creep up on us. They crept up on us. I got shot right here, like with a
Oh
knife.
wait, was that in your arm? In your arm, upper
Yeah, my
arm?
left
Huh?
arm. On my left arm, I got
I'm
shot
sorry
when
to
I
hear
was
that.
15. And I was scared to tell the people at the hospital, like, I'm homeless. I don't have family. So they're like, we can't let you go unless you tell us a parent's name. So I ended up telling my dad because my dad's more humble, like
Right.
he's more like, oh, okay, I understand. So and I still got a ass whoop when I got home. And my mom was like, that's what the fuck you get. That's what you get for
What?
being out there. But she still didn't want to own up to the shit where you fucked up. You're sending me out there. You're not giving a fuck about me. And then
Right.
when you take me back, you want to buy me with gifts? Yeah, I'm gonna take the gifts. But then 2 months later is the same cycle. Okay. Then at 19, I got shot again, and I got shot on my butt. I can't show you my butt.
Right.
I got shot in my back. And that day, I really thought I was gonna die because the way they rolled up on us, we were posted hot boxing and all that. They
Right.
recognized us, rolled up on us. That fool pulled out a strap, bop, 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 bop. Straight
Dang.
to us. He went straight to my homeboy 9 times on his chest. So when I heard him shooting, I jumped out the car and that fool went pop, one on her ass. I got shot in my butt. So I can still remember vividly to this day. Then I ended up leaving the hospital the next day. They're like, "There's nothing we can do. It's nothing major. It went in. It's gonna stay in there." Okay, cool. I was shot by a 22 this time, and I couldn't walk. So when I exited the hospital, I broke into my brother's house. They were not there because I got shot right by their house. So they left. They're like, "We don't want problems. We don't want them to come back." And I broke into the house. The next day, everybody showed up.
Mm.
But the person that showed up was my mom, right? She shows up in the afternoon. I'm sleeping on the floor. She comes and she kicks me and she tells me, bitch, they should, in Spanish though, pinche puta, I wish you would have, they should have just fucking killed you. I wish you would have just been dead. And I'm laying there on the floor with the blanket over my head and I'm like, she's not seeing my reaction. She's probably looking at me like, oh, this bitch been taking all my pain. She could take it. But underneath the blanket, I'm like, what? Fuck, what? And she's like kicking me, like, get up. Get the fuck up. All you do is just ruin people's spots, ruin people's lives. Bitch, I wish you would have just died. So I got up with my crutch to the restroom, and there I go again. And I slammed the door on her face. And I felt fucked up because I don't like to disrespect my elders, but
Right.
I had to. I was tired
Absolutely.
of her shit. And the
Right.
first thing I did was what? Sat there, hearing her bickering on the other side of the fucking door while I'm hitting the pookie.
Right.
And that was my medicine for like 25 years.
But, well, yeah, it's medically, yeah, it's a medical, deal. That's why it's, legal now. Um, and it actually helps people with mental health and, the trauma for some. That's why you see a lot of veterans and stuff and people that have, have seen, and been through the trauma. They have to have that type of medication. Dang, Suzanne, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't. That's crazy. That's wild. And that was like the norm for you. That was like
The
the
normal.
normal everyday life. Like,
Waking up to
man,
the pookie next to my bra.
right,
Waking up to the pookie and momos underneath the bed. Like I couldn't function without it. I knew I was addicted. I knew it. But I was like, this is the only thing that makes me function right.
right,
And
wow,
and that's why I try to bring awareness through my TikTok
right,
or through my Instagram. I talk about real facts because it would hurt me to see the next youngster go through that. Because everybody thinks, oh, it's all gravy, it's cool. We just hitting it, having a good time. That addiction led me to homelessness with my kids. We were living in
mm,
a van for 17 months. In a van. In a van for 17 months. And I was on my own. My baby daddy was out there running up amok as well. He has his own background and he was doing his thing. Yeah, he'll come back to me. It was a back and forth.
right,
But I was still on my own, holding my own down with my kids. And the only way I survived, because all my food stamps went to dope. Dope dealer
mm,
was like, I'll take all your food stamps. Then I was running up amok on Atlantic from Rosecrans Boulevard to Imperial Boulevard. Everybody fed me there on Atlantic. I don't know if you've seen any TikTok videos where I'm thanking the people that fed me and my kids. But I thank every person now that I'm sober. And I say, thank you, man. Like, what made you even acknowledge me? Like, damn, girl, we're going to help you. Because a lot of people are evil. Fuck her.
Right.
She's on the streets. She's going to do that shit on her own. But I survived through Atlantic. Everybody felt bad for me. Like, damn, this Hyna's been here
Mhm.
since she was young. And she's still out here, you know?
Only the mentally tough can do it, and a lot of people that I feel like that the situation that you were in throughout your childhood, a lot of people cannot do. It'd break them.
No.
And now look at you. So you got a roof over your head, you got a
Yes.
family, you got food
Yes.
on the table. You provide. You provide for your family. So my hats off to you because I know dealing with all that, you were dealing with adversity and struggles, and it wasn't easy. Um,
No.
and I'm sorry that you had to go through all that. But that's what makes you unique today. Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And like you said about your TikTok and your Instagram, how you spread awareness through your experiences that you've encountered throughout your life, um, can, like I said, bring some type of awareness to the youth
Yes.
and to even older people that are dealing with drug use. And we need more people like you, Susanna, for real.
Thank
And
you.
I hope this this interview blows up and someone major sees it, like a major podcast or whatever, and they ask you to get on their channel,
Yeah.
and you even blow up, and connections, and then here you go.
Yes.
Um, but like back to your childhood, so you felt some sort of neglect, right?
Yes.
What?
I was the I was the outsider. I was They acknowledged everybody in the family except me. I
Mm,
was always the outsider, always, always. And that was something awkward and painful to even feel or see. Like, oh, everybody gets invited to the birthday parties, everybody goes to the godmother's house. I was not even allowed to go to godmother's house because, oh, look at you, you're all tatted up. That's embarrassing.
mm,
Okay, but I have a good heart. I'm a good person.
right,
I'm just going through a lot of pain and it led me to that route. Not because I woke up and said, oh, I'm going to choose that.
right.
Because my dream was to be an RN, to be a
Okay.
nurse. And even though I went through a lot of destruction in life, I still accomplished to finish my high school, go for my medical assistant,
There you
did my
go.
CNA, and I was trying to accomplish my RN. And sadly, it didn't happen because of my addiction. I was
Right,
like, I prefer the pookie than the fucking school now,
right,
because I was too deep into that game already.
right.
But now my calling is to be a caseworker for the youth.
There you go.
And yes, I've been working on that since last year, but I just got my kids back in December the 10th. It's been what, almost 4 months that my kids have been
Wow.
home. So now I'm working on their mental health because I gotta think, like, you know what? I put these kids through a lot of BS.
Right.
They're going through a lot of trauma. They're going through a lot of things that they remember. Me getting my ass beat, me getting jumped, me and my addiction, and I've traumatized these kids. So I give myself and fall on my role again. So I'm working on their mental health, and I just want to tell the youth out there as well, because you're on drugs. It's all a party on balloons, on coke, on weed, and everything. Everything might feel good, but the hardest part is dealing with life sober.
Right.
That's the fucking hardest shit you could ever do, because me being sober and dealing with my kids' mental health, and I go through a lot with my kids on a daily basis. Their pain, their hurt, and that's the hardest thing. And I just want to tell the youngsters, because your friends popping a balloon or smoking the pookie, it's not cool, man. Be yourself. You could hang around with them people and be like, I'm cool. Because at the end of the day, how you guys make fun of me. A lot of people make fun of me on the media. Oh, years of abuse. Look at her old ass. Look at this.
They make fun of you on your
Yes.
TikTok.
Yes. They make fun of me. Look at her face. Years of abuse. Look at her old as fuck. And she was a tweaker. Okay, yes, I acknowledge that. I was a tweaker. I was a homeless. I don't have shit for my kids. But one thing I know, I'm a changed person.
Right.
And if you guys
Absolutely.
continue that path, you guys are going to be in that pattern. Years of abuse,
Right.
being in the streets, struggling. Like it's a hard life, and a lot of people don't understand that. And I wish I can really. That's why I want to be that counselor, because I can sit with that individual and talk to them for the ones that really need the help. Because a lot of the people out here just do it. They have everything they want. They have love, and they choose that route. You know.
Right. Absolutely, Susanna. And I think even like even in the schools, certain like poverty communities, you know what I mean? Those schools, they don't, those counselors, they, whatever you want to call them, counselors, they don't care about,
They
the
don't.
kids. So I mean, for a person like you, like everything happens for a reason, and God put you in that situation, in the situations throughout your youth, for a reason. And then like now, I mean, you can use your experiences to share to others. And I really think something like even at like a school district, like you can be a counselor and mentor these kids. I know
That
it's
would
going to
be
be
amazing.
difficult, right? I know it's going to be difficult because you have your own as well, but um, I think that'd be really cool, especially because a lot of kids need that, and it all starts with the youth.
Yes.
Um, like a lot of the kids, that end up in prison, they were neglected when they were young. They weren't loved, um, and that's very unfortunate. But society is so close-minded that they don't
Yes.
understand the struggles of someone else unless it happens to them or a loved one. Then they'll care. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah, that is just
And I wanted to bring something about what you said about the school and counselors that don't care.
right.
You're absolutely right. I never had not one counselor that gave a crap about me. But when I was living in the car, and I finally decided to say this is enough, and I got help. And it took for my baby daddy to go to prison. Now he's a lifer, right? So I'm like,
Mm,
I'm by myself in the streets. I got that help, and I ended up in Glendale. I don't know if you heard of that city.
Glendale. Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, that's where my life changed drastically. I changed the way I spoke, the way I fucking reacted to people. Um, the help that that district has for the children is amazing. And it makes me think like, wow, they look at us Hispanics and African Americans like we're
Hmm.
nothing.
Right.
We're nothing.
Right.
We're nobody. And in this
Absolutely.
district where there's Armenians, there's Caucasians, Filipinos, different race from us that they're superior than us. Wow, like they gave us help because there's a shelter there for a TV. But wow, I compared it and I said, wow, these people really took care of me. Like they sat there. How can we help you? What can I do for you? What are you going through? How can I guide you? How can I refer you? And
Right.
because of them, I am where I am now at a house. Because I've been through shelters in South Central, Watts, Linwood, Compton. Not one helped me.
Mm,
Not one. But I go to a little high class area and it's like, boom, everything is there. And you know what I mean? God has his plans for each person when they know that he knows when people want to change and really want to make a difference in their own life and others' lives. And I feel that God has guided me through all these steps. And I take it as like, what's the word I want to say? Oh, when they tell you everything happens for a reason.
right.
I was not able to understand that phrase. I used to get mad. Everything happens for a reason. And I used to be like, what the fuck you mean everything happens for a reason? But now, as
You
years went by,
understand.
I said, God, only, man, God, now I know what you were doing. You were making me look at all this. This is what you
Yeah.
want? Or do you want to move forward and be a difference in life for your kids and
Yeah.
for others? And that's my goal. I didn't think I was going to get podcast by you.
Oh,
Honestly, I
I'm
didn't.
no, I'm no, but I am. Don't even trip. I'm no, I'm no
You
one.
are
But
somebody. You
I,
are.
yeah, I am. But
You're a
it's it,
you.
It's people like you. I'm very passionate about what I do. I mainly interview people that have been incarcerated, but I also interview people that have dealt with struggles with addiction, any type of addiction, and being like homeless on the streets. And that, Susanna, that's another thing too. I want to have you on as well, and talk about like the gangbang life and the homeless as well. But we can do that another time, part two and
Of
part three, so
course.
we'll have more time. You know what I mean? But I remember you mentioned like not too while ago, you mentioned about Glenwood compared to these other cities in the school districts. It's kind of a rich neighborhood, right? Glenwood,
What? Linwood?
Glenwood. Did you say
Oh,
Glenwood or
no,
Linwood
Glendale.
or Glendale? My bad, Glendale.
Glendale, yes.
So yeah, Glendale,
Gucci,
but there's a lot of funding. There's a lot of funding through that city and the school district
yes.
rather than like a San Bernardino or something like that, whatever,
Even where
or
I'm
a
at
Thompson.
now in North Hills, right? Because the
Right.
social
Okay.
worker always connects me with the school district so they could help me with clothes and shoes. And I appreciate the things that they give me, but I compare the things that I was like, wow, they gave me a $10 pair of shoes, and I'm grateful for it because without them, I still wouldn't have shit for my kids. But it's like, how do we compare a 10 pair of dollar shoes where there's minorities?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in Glendale, it's like they always had Gap, Nikes, um, all kind of brand stuff. He even got a pair of this basketball player shoes, and I'm like, wow. We even got to meet Meta World Peace from the Lakers.
Really?
Really. And
Dang.
he even went out there to that shelter because it's a high class shelter.
Right.
And he was like, oh yeah, I love the kids and woo woo woo. He even gave me a hat. I have a hat. And he dedicated to me. He's like, what do you want me to put on there? I go, shit, I'm from the hood, homie. I want you to put to smiley. He was like to smiley. Like he's looking at like I thought I was coming to a high class place. I said, I'm sorry, my boy, but I'm ghetto and I'm hood and I'm excited you're here. And I'm glad that you're here with minorities because everybody in this place is minorities. The
Right.
city might be a little high class, but we're minorities,
Right.
you know? But it's just a difference that I see, a big difference. And I'm like, wow, I wish I was still in Glendale. I wish that I would have got a Section 8 voucher out there just to make a drastic change in my kids' life because I would never want my kids or anybody to go through what I went through. And it's just only a little piece that I've told you about my life, just the
Right.
basic. You know, it's like a timeline. I'm only going to pinpoint the big things, but detailed, fuck, man. This is
And
why I
you've
want to
been
make a
through it.
difference in children and the
Right.
youth because
Yeah.
it's
We
not cool, man. It's not cool. It's not.
absolutely. We need more people like you, and I feel like that's where the government, if you really think about it, and people do the research, the government fails. Certain communities, the poverty homes, they're not going to fund. They're not the schooling district and all that. They're the Section 8. They're not going to fund any of that. Like rather than your for me where I live, North Fresno, it's completely different from like the Blackstone area, Cutler Butler area. It's two different places.
Yes.
But the people that live in the Cutler Butler area down South Fresno, um, those people cherish life more, and most of them been through it. They've actually lived through tragic things like that have encountered throughout their life, and they cherish life more. You know what I mean? And rather than your person up North Fresno or whatever, they don't understand the struggles and any of that. They just were brought up in the money as a kid. They all they know is money.
Yes.
So, and then there's another quote, not a quote, but a saying that I watched on Last Chance U. I'm not too sure if you've seen that before on Netflix, but one of their coaches were saying everyone has an opportunity, but some people have a bigger opportunity than others. Some people may have a bigger window or a smaller window, and it's difficult for that person in that smaller window because they can't make mistakes. You know what I mean? For someone that's black or Hispanic,
Yeah.
um, their way out of the hood, or is sports, mainly sports. You know what I mean? Get that college degree. But if you don't get that college degree or whatever, it's, I mean, what are you going to be up in the streets and stuff like that? So rather than someone, with the bigger window, they have connections, their dad has connections, mom has connections, it's totally different. But
Really?
that's where the government for sure fails the people.
Yes.
But you have to really understand it. Um, like if you've been through that situation, you understand it. But for those that have not, they don't understand.
Absolutely.
And that's
And
what makes you unique too, and the person you are today, because like I said, you've been through it all. Um, and now you want to change and transition to something, another chapter in your life with, spreading awareness for the youth, because the youth is
yes,
really needing that. They're really needing you out there and more people like you for sure. And using TikTok, you're doing a really good job on TikTok, doing what you do, because you can save a life. Someone may reach out to you. I'm pretty sure people have reached out to you.
a lot.
But
And
yeah.
I have every resources that every woman needs. I've had women reach out to me. You know what? I'm being abused by my man, and I don't know what to do. Can you guide me? And I give them the info. Call this number. Do this. Do that. Go through this, and I guide them. There's some that they're like, there's some, sadly, that women say, can I bring my man with me? No, you cannot. This is a
Mm,
woman's shelter. You're trying to get out of the situation. You cannot change the next person. All you can do is change you
right.
and the way you live and the way you act and the way you think. You all can only change you. The next person that wants to follow you and change their life, they'll do it.
Right.
But I've helped a few. I helped a few. There's girls that just want to talk. There's a lot of teenagers. My huge followers are teenagers. And they
Mm,
always message me, can you be my mom? Can you
mm,
please talk to me? Can you tell me this? And I have a lot of viewers that tell me, oh, we don't want kids here. And I tell my viewers, let me tell you, my choice of people are the youth. I'd rather let them sit here and hear me talk nonsense and laugh and clown than for them to just feel lonely and go out there and take a hit of something.
right.
And a lot of my youth love me, and I love them too. And Instagram, all my youth love me. I have both. And a lot of women always tell me, even boys, like, dang, you're inspiring. Thank you. And, you
Hmm.
know, like, and it feels good. Even though I go through things with my teenager, because I have a teenager. And he kind of, I feel like he kind of hates me because I put him through a lot of my methamphetamine use.
Right.
And before he used to call me a tweaker. You're nothing but a
Mm,
tweaker. Oh, you disgust me. And even though I got them back, it's still a lot of dysfunctional things going on in our home. We're not perfect.
right. No one's perfect.
And that's the hardest thing that I'm going through with him. Like he tells me, like as a fact, today he was like, I just want to leave today. I want to go live with my grandma.
Mm,
And this just comes out randomly. It comes from time to time. Like, wow, he probably sits there and thinks of all the things I put him through, and he still probably looks at me like, ugh, oh, I hate her. She's disgusting.
but
And
Susanna, do you think it? Sorry to cut you off, but do you think it's, personally? I don't think it's your fault at all. I think he's mad. Was his father there when he was younger? No, right? See,
he's never been there.
you see that's another thing too. Like I feel like he's taking his. I don't know the situation, but I've actually had my father. He used meth as well for years, and I've seen it all. Prostitution in my house. Prostitute living in the garage, and us, my mom and my family not knowing it. Um, to my dad being on the roof at the middle of the night, just on just stuff like that. So I mean, I totally understand how that is, and I feel like, um, there may be some type of like hatred towards the father just because he wasn't there during the time,
Yeah,
and he's taking it out on you. But yeah, the meth use would also take a role in it, but there's communication. Um, and I feel like you can communicate well. And I
Yes.
mean, he's just gonna have to understand. He's just gonna have to understand what you went through, and what you went through at your youth age, because you went through a lot of pain and struggles. And I mean, everyone takes it differently, and you chose a family oriented group, a gang, whatever you want to call it, family oriented group that made you feel welcomed, and they just led you in the wrong direction, unfortunately. But there just has to be some type of understanding between the two, you know. But I'm
Yeah,
sorry
and
to
we're
hear that.
working on that.
Right.
We're working on that. I got therapists, I got behavioral therapists, and it's crazy because I sit there, right? And sometimes as humans, we always want to pinpoint you, and I'm always telling his therapist, well, he did this, well, he did that, and he doesn't listen, and he does this, and he tells me this. But this one day he said, he was hearing me out, and my son told me, are you done? And I said, yeah, I'm done. And the behavioral therapist was like, do you have something to say, Jonathan? Yeah, I do. He said, well, what about that time when you were on drugs all the time? What about the time you had chocolates and selling me chocolates for your drugs? What about the time you sold our dog for drugs? What about
Mm,
when you had me in the streets? What about when we were always walking in the streets? What about when we were always stealing food? What about, like, he disclosed all this. He let all this shit out that I felt stupid. I started crying, like, wow. And the therapist is looking at me like, this is where this hate is coming from. This is how he's expressing himself.
right.
And I sat there and I said, wow, I was being selfish. Like, I'm not even acknowledging my son's feelings, you know? But
Right.
I'm only sober from meth for 7 months, that I'm like, wow, I have to learn how to, like, acknowledge his feelings as well. Everything is not about revolving me, about what I went through. I went through a lot of shit. Now, Susie, work with yourself, and now you got to work with your son. So that's why the behavioral therapist was like, I'm going to work with both of you guys. And this team that I have out here is amazing. Like, we work around our feelings. And he tells me straight up, like, not only does your son have to work on a lot of things, but you do. And I'm like, okay. You know, because we always
Right.
want to pinpoint the next person. Well, I already went through this and I'm doing this and I overcame it. No, but the shit is still there. It's still in the circle. The pain is still going on between me and my son, you know?
Right.
And every kid that I have here, they all have their own little, they came back with dysfunctional issues. And I have to work on that. And it's been the hardest thing that I could do as a parent.
Especially a
But one
single
thing I
mother.
can, as a mother, and one thing I can say, I'm not gonna give up on them. Even though my son tells me, he told me today, and he started packing his things, and we got into it. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna tell the social worker I want to leave. And I called the social worker a few hours ago before we interviewed, and I said, you know what? We're having issues. He wants to leave, but now as I'm sitting here, it's like, do I want him to leave? Am I gonna really just let him go like that? No, I didn't get this tattoo for nothing. I'm unbreakable, baby.
Right.
I'm not going
Absolutely.
to let the devil break us. Now, we're humans. We're going to get into disputes. But I love my son. And I know I'm doing a good job in raising him with morals, with respect, and appreciation, you know?
Right.
I can't give him luxuries. I can't give him them expensive shoes. I can't give him the best fucking TV. I can't give him money to go out there and do his thing. But one thing I've always told him, I don't got shit to give you. Or if I die tomorrow, I'm not leaving you nothing. All I can leave you is my morals and
Mm,
experience in life and how to deal with things in life.
right. And that's
You
parenting
know,
right there,
it's
though. That's
parenting.
parenting actual love, because a lot of some kids that are born into that, you know, the luxury and gift, a lot of gifts given. When something bad happens, here's a
Yes.
gift, soak it up, you know. They don't want that. A lot of them, if they do not want that, they want love,
Yeah.
affectionate, you know, rather than, you know, all this, the materialistical things, and you know what I mean. So, you know, he's very lucky to have you as a mother, you know, even
And
besides your
I'm lucky to
past and
have him
stuff.
as a son.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
He's very amazing. And I hope one day maybe when he has a little bit more confidence about himself, maybe he can talk about his experience with you because
Right.
he has a huge story to tell as
I'm
well.
I'm open for that. Whenever he's available, I'm ready.
Yeah,
I got all
of
day.
course. A
I
mother and son thing because Jonathan was the only one that really experienced all this pain. My second child, I lost him when he was 2 months old.
mm,
Lost him to the system, got him back, lost him again, got him back, and I got him back, and now I'm like really mentally stable. I have a home for them and stuff like that. But Jonathan has a story to tell, and
right.
he could be a perfect example for a lot of youth out there.
Youth,
And
yeah.
I tell him, use what you got, use all that energy for positive. Oh, you think all the people on Instagram are your real friends? And I'm like, I know they're not my real friends, Jonathan, but I got 20 lawyer viewers on a daily basis that watch me every day and been through my pain since I lost my kids to the system.
Right.
And it's like, you know what, these people are even going through it. Maybe they watch us on a daily basis because they fucking see like,
Hmm.
fuck, I'm gonna
That's their
learn from them.
therapy. Right.
A therapy, I'm gonna learn from them, you know.
Right.
And look at him now, look at my son, look at him, he's sweeping over there.
Ah, he's doing
Say
some
hi,
chores.
Jonathan.
How you doing, Jonathan? Is he playing any sports? How old is he? Is he in high
No,
school right now?
he's not in sports right now because this community, I can't afford sports. and,
Right.
and that's another thing, Glendale paid for all my sports for all three of my kids. This community don't got shit because there's minorities here, and
Right.
we don't care about them. But when I get my little tax money, because I do work, and I
You
haven't
got
been
that
working.
stimulus?
You know what? I don't qualify for it because my kids were in foster home last year, and I didn't
Oh,
do taxes for him last year.
right.
But I was working, so I do qualify for my income tax. So I usually enroll them and I buy things for them that they need. Every tax money doesn't go for me; it goes for them. Look at me,
Right.
spaghetti strap, spaghetti strap,
Hey, you
raw
gotta do what you
fat,
gotta do. With the Modelo
raw
in the
fat.
hand.
Oh yeah, I know it's close. It's close though, because I was
uh,
like, I had it between my legs, and I was like, am I gonna need it for his interview?
nah, you can do whatever you want on this interview. Whatever you feel comfortable. I try to make my guests feel as
No,
comfortable as possible.
you made me feel comfortable, so I don't need it.
There you go. I want to. I have Jonathan's Instagram is on your
Yes,
bio, so I'm gonna
yes.
contact him because another thing too, I want to talk about foster homes and
Okay,
what
cool.
actually goes on in the inside of foster homes because I feel like there's a lot of
Come, Johnny.
me- mental and physical abuse. I'm not saying Jonathan went through that. I don't know, but there's a lot of mental and physical abuse that goes on in foster homes. That's not talked about, and that's really under the cover. And then people go in the prison system. It's all a system, governmental
Yes,
system, but it's all
yes,
for money. So it's
yes.
unfortunate. I studied criminology at Chico, so
Oh,
I
really?
learned I learned all about that. This is my last year, so it's just my interest. So yeah, if Jonathan, whenever Jonathan, you're free, man. If you're listening right now, I'm gonna hit you up tomorrow morning. I'll be at
Come,
the
Johnny.
coast. I'll be at the coast, but I'm gonna shoot you a text sometime tomorrow, brother. And if you're open
He's
to
free.
do an interview or something, that'd be kind of cool. And we could even talk about, just all sorts of stuff. But I feel
Jonathan's
like
very
that'd be
open.
cool.
He's very open
Cool.
as well, and um, he's gonna tell you a whole lot that it's gonna hurt me, and I'm gonna be embarrassed about it, but it
That's
needs
all
to be
good.
thrown out there.
Right.
It needs to be
Absolutely.
thrown out there. Awareness, like you say,
Right.
awareness is a good
Absolutely.
word. And if we can do that, like hopefully he's able to speak about it, because when we go live, he goes live as well,
Okay.
and he talks about a lot of experiences in life and the things that he's went through, and he always throws it when we're live. It's like we're keeping up with the Kardashians. That's how
Ah.
our life is. We throw everything. We're live for hours and we're throwing our life out there. And he's like, you don't even know the shit I went through in foster home. How do
Right.
you know, mom? And everybody's into our live, like, what happened? Tell us. So I'm pretty sure Jonathan has a lot to tell you, just like I do. And But yeah, absolutely, hit them
Yeah.
up.
Let's do it. Yeah, and Susanna, I just wanted to like touch base, like, scratch the surface. I don't expect every life, situation that's happened with you, but I know you've experienced homelessness, the gang banging, and I also want to talk about mental health next time with you. But I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's late. It's 9:05. You
It
know,
don't bother me. The kids are down. You know what I mean? If you want to
right?
continue, I can continue. But if you want to do this in another session, I'm here for you. You made me feel comfortable,
I
and
appreciate
I'm
that. Yeah,
and I'm available anytime. Just let me know the time.
yeah. We could even do it. Like we can do one every. I just want to do three parts. So the game, this lifestyle, like your like everyday life, just getting to know you, and then like the gang banging would be another part two. Part three would be like living on the streets, even with your children, like Jonathan. And then for part four, mental health, because the people are for sure. Once I post this, they're gonna really be engaged and they're gonna want more. So um, yeah, we're for sure gonna have to do that. And I can even fund you a little bit. Um,
No, no, no. What do you mean?
I could shoot some over some bucks, couple bucks.
No.
Never
Let me tell you. Everything I do it from the heart. That's
right,
one thing. Me and my family, we're not gonna take nothing from you.
right,
We're not. Because you're
right,
doing the same thing and you're passionate about the youth. We're
right.
not doing that. We're no, I'm not gonna take nothing from you.
I
You're an amazing
respect it.
person. You're amazing.
Respect
I
it.
can tell that you're barely starting off, and I, you know what I mean, if I can be a help with whatever your future is, I'm gonna do it.
I
I'm not gonna
appreciate
take
that.
money. That's what we don't do. We don't do
Uh,
that. But I
I just thought I'd
appreciate
offer.
it.
I
I
appreciate that. It
appreciate
means a lot to me.
Yeah, no, no
Um,
worries, honey. I admire you. You told me a little bit about your life, and
right.
I appreciate you sharing it. And I can see the passion. I can hear you listening to me and understanding things. And
Absolutely.
that just tells me more than enough from you. And that's all we need in life. We can just pass out awareness to be humans, humanity. Where's the humanity at?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're amazing. And
I
every interview that you want, I'm here for you.
I appreciate that. Likewise, yeah, because I feel like a lot of podcasters or like interviewers, it's more of a question one, question two, question three, answer this, answer the answer. I don't even have questions written down. I just I bounce off you. It's your podcast. Like I was
Oh, I'm
saying.
sorry.
No, that's
You
just
can
how I
ask
that's
me.
just how I do. Like,
Yeah.
you tell your life story, and I'll ask you some questions. Like, I'm not gonna be here all like a robot. You know what I mean? Question one, I want to like have a conversation. That's why I'd sit down with Sid. It's more of a like a warm feeling conversation. And I
Yes.
appreciate you for taking your time out and being vulnerable and expressing your life experiences at a young age and up until now. It's not easy. It's really not easy to doing that. Especially publicly. But what you're gonna do for the youth and for society is much needed, especially coming from someone that's been through that. And like I said, it's truly a blessing and honor to have you on here.
Oh, thank you, hun. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And then Jonathan, I'll hit him up tomorrow,
Okay, for
um,
sure.
and then we'll stay in contact. And then I'll be publishing this sometime next week. I've been
That's fine.
busy. Sometime next week, and then we can even schedule a date for an upcoming one. It can be like the next one can be like 20 minutes or so, like little parts, because people are going to be very interested in this for sure.
Yeah, of course. Whatever you like. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you, Susanna.
No, thank you.
It's an honor. Thank you. Have a good one. Okay. Be safe.
Likewise. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.